Hi there. I'm Joe Dudek, president and founder of Keyhole Marketing.
And I'm Shannon Jarek. I work for Keyhole as the assistant brand manager.
And this is Metaphorically Speaking, a podcast that explores the mysterious side of marketing. Hey there, welcome to Metaphorically Speaking, or welcome back to Metaphorically Speaking if you listened to our first season, which we launched in March. Since then, it's been a busy couple months. April 15th, my wife, my son, my dog, and I, we packed up our house and moved from Indianapolis to Colorado and found a place in Colorado Springs, actually, and finally moved in early June, and now we're about a month in and just loving it out here. Still getting used to life in the West. We're like legitimately up in the mountains and, you know, plenty of wildlife in our backyard. Mule deer, bobcats, black bear. I think there's some mountain lions around here somewhere too. So every day is a new adventure. And if you know me, this is where I've belonged all of my life. So we're loving it out here and can't say I miss the Midwest a whole lot, sorry to say. And so now we're in this in-between time where we've wrapped up season 1, talking about how to tell your business story. And right now, my co-host, Shannon Jarek, and I are already busy preparing season 2, where we're going to talk about the fears related to marketing and entrepreneurship. And so in this unseason, this time between the two seasons, we want to kind of fill this space with things that we've done on the blog the last several years. If you've been following on Keyhole Marketing, you've seen that we have regularly talked to entrepreneurs to explore their personal stories. What are the things that happened in their lives that led them to start their business? And we've always talked about the plot twist that happened that led them to stop what they were doing and take the leap of faith to start their own business. And we've got 25 such interviews on the blog. And so we want to continue those conversations right here in an audio format in between the seasons. And today we're going to start with Lily and Madeleine. They're a folk pop sister group out of Indianapolis. And this past February, they dropped their 4th LP release called Canterbury Girls. And today our conversation covers the differences about this new album compared to some of their past ones. We also talk about their musical influences growing up and how they cope with sharing their art with the world. And of course, we also explored the plot twists that took place in their lives, allowing them to pursue their musical dreams in the first place. So thanks for listening. I hope you enjoy our conversation. So where are you now? Are you back in Indiana already? Are you still in the process of coming back, or what's going on?
Yeah, we're back in Indy and we're going to Europe on Monday for our next bit of tour.
Oh, that's awesome. And what was I forget what you said, what was the reason to come back to Indiana again?
Our lease was up in New York, and so we just thought we would come back to Indy and regroup and then reconsider.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't really been in our apartment since January, at all. So it doesn't make sense to be paying much when you're not even there, you know?
For sure. Yeah. Is it good to be back there? Did you miss Indy, or is it good to be away? What's kind of your thoughts on that?
It's nice to be home. Yeah, it's always comforting to be back. I miss New York a little bit already, but we'll be back there soon, I think.
Yeah, that's awesome. We talked a little bit last time. Is just the transition from Indy, the Midwest, to Brooklyn, New York. How has Brooklyn maybe changed you in your time there, do you think?
Well, I definitely feel accomplished that we were able to pack up and move to a different state so far away and make it work. And, a city as challenging as New York, I definitely feel accomplished that we did that. And I feel now that I have such a better understanding of New York, and I definitely would want to move back. But I don't know, because we've been touring for so long. I feel like the move wasn't that.
No, it wasn't even that big of a deal. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. When you guys grew up listening to music, what was some of the music that maybe who did you listen to that maybe influenced your sound today?
Well, I would say when we were growing up, I remember getting my first iPod Shuffle. Do you remember the the stick one? Yeah.
Yes.
With no spin or anything. So I remember taking that to the pool and listening to who did I listen to? I listened to Enya a lot, honestly.
Okay.
I loved Enya. And I listened to Allie and AJ. They were a sister group when we were younger. And then Green Day was also on my iPod Shuffle. And then as I got older, I got more into like indie music, like indie pop and alternative rock music. And I listened to Arcade Fire a lot. Their album, The Suburbs, was really good. And Regina Spektor is another incredible songwriter that I love.
How about you, Lily? Who did you listen to growing up?
I mean, same here. I guess I remember on my iPod shuffle listening to The Strokes and like some random Beatles songs that got thrown in there. But yeah, I mean, imagine I listened to pretty much the same stuff growing up. I really like JoJo a lot also.
Yeah, totally. I forgot about some of those bands that you just mentioned. I'm going to bring them up again. What's some of maybe your first recollections of music making an impact on you? Like when you started going, wow, like I really love music. It really impacts me as a person. What are some of your first recollections of that happening?
I remember singing and playing in church when I was younger. And like just the way that, you could sing the same song with different melodies, I thought was really interesting. And like harmonizing with the choir was really interesting.
I would say, I don't know if I had a moment where I realized that it impacted me, but I had a moment where I realized it didn't impact others in the same way. And I guess that's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, I think that's the same thing. Like
so you saw it just impacted you more deeply than somebody else. They were just sort of like, oh, that's just something going on in the background into you. You took it more
right.
personally.
I was like, oh my God, like how can you feel that way?
Yeah, how can you ignore it? Amazing thing.
No, that's awesome. Talk me through a little bit. I know that's been fairly well documented, but maybe that plot twist that happened in your life that led you into music and how you got discovered and got connected to the industry and all that sort of thing.
I would say our plot twist happened in 2012. Yeah. When Lily were you a sophomore? I was a freshman. When Lily was a freshman in high school, and I think I was a junior. And so we had been, we loved music our whole lives and played and whatnot for fun. And then we were doing some cover videos just for fun because, other people were doing it. And we were like, we're good too. We can do this. And so it was a family friend who passed along one of our videos to a producer. And then his name is Paul Mahern, and he works in Bloomington, and he's really incredible. And so he challenged us to write our own music. And so I would say that writing our own music was the major catalyst for where we are today, because before, we had just kind of written poems and silly songs just for fun, but nothing too serious. And then getting challenged to write an EP and then record that EP and release it on a label, it just changed our lives.
When did you know that like the music thing was for you? So you sort of like you had that opportunity come around. When did you start to see like, okay, this could be a career for us versus, wow, that was an interesting opportunity, but now we have to get back to reality. When did you sort of like it clicked in your mind and said, okay, this is for us. We should pursue this.
I think our approach has always just been like taking it one step at a time, one tour at a time, one album at a time. I don't think it was until like pretty recently, like being able to look back on everything now to be able to be like, no, this is like my career, this is my life. But like, I feel like when we first started out, definitely it was just sort of like, let's see where this goes, let's see what happens. And I dropped out of high school. I guess I would say that was the moment where I was like, okay, we're really like going for it now. But even then I was like, I could always go back, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And were you both always in agreement about that? Was there one sort of like leading the charge and rallying the other person to the music thing? Were you both kind of always in step with that?
I think we were in sync with it.
Yeah. I know. So music, you sort of like, things happened quickly for you as you stepped into the music world. What are some things, you didn't really maybe step in with like a ton of knowledge about the industry and things to expect. What are some of the lessons you've learned in the industry so far over the last several years?
Everything is so expensive all the time, and you just have to be willing to invest definitely, and also do things for experience and for fun, because imagine I don't really make a lot of profit. Streaming is so poorly paid, but whatever. I don't know. I think it definitely taught me to be more confident and to like assert what I need. But the general shit that you learn from any job, like there are creepy people, there are people who don't work as hard as you, or greedy, people.
I've learned also that there's so many different moving parts to making a record, and there's like management, a booking agent, producers, and an engineer, and songwriters, and there's just a lot that goes into a music career that I didn't even realize.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Are there things that you maybe aspired with your life, maybe before music came around, and you think like, wow, I still wish we could pursue that, or maybe I'll still do that one day once this kind of winds down? Are there sort of life aspirations that you dreamed of as a child that maybe had to be put on hold for the music?
When I was in 8th grade, I really wanted to be like a bass player in a band. Like I've always wanted to make music, but I never wanted to be like the front person.
Yeah.
But so, I considered like maybe like doing art history or something in college. And I would get a degree, if we have time and money at some point, I would love to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
I would say that I thought about being a journalist, honestly. I thought that might be a fun career path because I love to write. Kind of like what you're doing, honestly, like interviewing people
really?
and stuff. I thought that would be cool. I could still do it,
awesome.
I suppose.
No, definitely. Yeah, you definitely have the connections, I'm sure. That'd be great. So you're kind of in between tours. How did the first round, I guess, go? I mean, how are you feeling about putting the music out there, playing it live? What kind of feedback are you getting?
I feel really good about it. We've been getting a lot of good feedback, and we sold out a couple shows on the last tour, which was great. And we're hoping to sell out a show or two in Europe as well. So it's gotten a lot of good feedback. I think that it's our best-selling record to date, which is really exciting. And the tour has been going really well.
That's awesome. So are you excited about the next one? Is this your first European tour, or have you been over there before?
We've been there before. I think this might be our 4th time.
This is the first time with a drummer. We've toured in the past as a duo a lot, and also with our cellist. But this is our first time being like full band. Yeah, that's true.
Nice. That's awesome. Were there things you were trying, as you put this album together, like things you were trying to accomplish? Was there a purpose of like, we need to put this out here to do this? Or is it always just sort of like, we have this sort of boiling up inside of us and we have to get it out in this album form?
It's more the second one, more of like, we just had these feelings bubbling up inside us that we just wanted to release in this record. I would say that we didn't really go into the studio with like a concept for the whole record as a whole necessarily. We just had like this collection of songs that had like very similar themes. And then as we got more into the recording process, we realized like the central themes of the record. And so that was really fun to get to kind of explore our own music.
That's great. Can you describe a little bit, just from in the industry that I'm in, being a writer and former journalist and all that kind of stuff, can you talk a little bit about your songwriting process, maybe how that worked through this album, and maybe just on an ongoing basis in your life?
Well, my process, this is Lily speaking, is usually I just sit down at the piano. It's usually piano instead of guitar, but sometimes I do guitar if it's, I don't know. But I'll just like kind of play and zone out and see what I feel like playing. And then, usually when I write a song, it's only about a minute long. It's like a part A and a part B, or like a verse and a chorus. But I don't know. I guess I sometimes think about specifically trying to write something, but mostly it's just sort of like whatever I'm feeling comes out.
Yeah. Just like sometimes some random thoughts that just hit through your brain, and you're not, it's not a organized thought yet, but you just have to get it out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. Yeah. I'm always curious about that, because writing songs is just a different art form for sure. And I've tried it in the past for fun, and it's just so foreign to me, because I kind of sit down and write with a different purpose. And there's usually some, I'm going to accomplish this, or I want to say this thing. And then I have it organized as far as starting here, ending here, what are the 3 takeaways and that kind of stuff. So I'm always curious to get inside the brain of a songwriter, because it just is so different from anything that I do. But appreciate you sharing that.
I think for me, at least when I sit down and try to be like, I want to say this and I want it to sound like this, like I end up getting frustrated because it's never like, it's never as good as I want it to be. So I think like the key is to just not judge yourself and just make what you make.
Yeah, there is definitely a form of that, of just free writing, put it out there and then just judge it later, like critique it, edit it later, but just get it out there for sure. Can we talk a little bit just maybe about, was there a particular audience or listener in mind when you created this album, or is it just sort of, again, just trying to put it out there and whoever receives it, and you're fine with that?
I almost feel like I was writing this record for my past self a little bit, because this record was definitely inspired by like difficult events and like things that I've learned and grown from. So I feel like it was almost kind of like just talking to my past self from a future perspective and saying like everything's going to be okay and stuff like that. But also I feel like when we're making a record, I don't really picture my audience for the most part. I kind of just put it out there and just want to see how people react.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I think that's the interesting part too about sort of the last question I had in mind of what it feels like for you as artists to, work kind of in a silo and be able to put that thing out, pull some things from internally and put them out and put them in a forum that shares that story. But then you actually have to put it out there and share it with somebody else and like get that reaction from them, especially when it is such a personal experience. So how does it feel for you now that you're sharing these songs with people? I mean, is there a lot of fear for that for you? Is it does it actually maybe cathartic to share with people and get that feedback? Like, how does that affect you, the two of you, when you finally get a chance to share your artwork?
Honestly, I feel like I'm always just thinking about how it feels for me to sing these songs on stage, or how it feels for me to write them. And it's nice when people like them, and obviously I want people to like them. But I don't know. I just like think that it has to be about expressing your own emotions, and if somebody relates to that, that's awesome. But like, I don't read reviews because I just don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It makes me feel weird because like this is like my life that I'm thinking about, and people are like
judging it. It's funny.
Yeah, it's funny and weird in a lot of different ways. I totally hear you. Yeah, for sure. Well, from our vantage point, I appreciate you putting it out there. I think that it gives us a platform to see like what are ways we need to express some stuff that's going on for us. And even though you, I'm sure, get some weird feedback, known or unknown, it's always good as a listener to go, okay, wait, what are some things I need to explore in my life? So I appreciate that, what you guys do in your writing for sure. So
thank you.
Cool. Yeah. Well, thanks so much again for the time.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much again for listening to Metaphorically Speaking. I really hope you enjoyed our conversation today. If you take a moment, we'd love for you to rate us on iTunes and even subscribe on your favorite podcast app. And if you want more information or to check out our full library of entrepreneurial interviews, just visit keyholemarketing.us. And as always, feel free to send us an email at hi@keyholemarketing.us. Thanks so much again for listening.